Morning guys, hope you're well. So today literally feels like D-Day. Parents, families up and down the country are sending their kids back to school today for the first time since March the 23rd when lockdown was first introduced. For me personally, I've had not debates, but I've had conversations with people about this, around this topic, and I just cannot send my child back to nursery at this specific time. I almost feel like for me personally, that I will be playing almost Russian roulette with his life. He's not a guinea pig. And I can't be, doing this thing like, trial or error with my child. That's just not happening whatsoever. I'm not by any means trying to criticize any parent who has decided to send their children back to school. I think everyone should do what they feel comfortable in doing. Do you do what's best for your family. But as for me and my household, my baby is staying at home. I've read so many things about this, and for me, I've kind of rationalized it by saying, if the hairdressers can't open, if I can't even get my eyebrows done, if I can't do my nails, if we can't go to eat in restaurants, if the bars and pubs and clubs can't open, why are the schools opening? How are you going to be able to enforce that 2 meter social distancing with, nursery kids, with primary school kids? How are you going to be able to do that? Again, I feel like it's premature to send the kids back. Number one, all the year groups are not even going back anyway. So it makes you feel like, why do the kids need to go back right now? I'm not saying education is not important. It is extremely important. And I do know, especially, that there will be some kids who will definitely be affected by not having been in school for such a long period of time. But I also feel like your health and your life is a lot more important than that in the grand scheme of it. The government are doing as best as they can. Nobody actually really knows what's going on. But, the advice is changing every single day and every single week. At the very beginning, we were told that children were not impacted with the whole COVID-19, could not contract corona, etc. Evidently, that is not the case, because we have heard that children, very young kids, unfortunately, have died and have contracted the disease. So kids are not immune to it. Why don't we monitor just a little bit longer? Again, I know there are some families who have to send their children back to school now, especially if they don't have the means to be able to work from home. Again, I completely understand that. But I just feel like the government as well should have thought about this a lot more. I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision for them, but I personally just think it's a bit premature. And also, another thing that I wanted to say is that when kids go to school, it doesn't even need to be in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah, I know from my experience with having a child and having a son in nursery, that he constantly, constantly, shall I say, had a runny nose or some type of cough. That was even without having the whole corona COVID-19 pandemic going on in the world. But it's just the way how kids are. They share things, they touch things, they cough and sneeze in each other's faces. They are kids and they play and they do all of these things. And it's very hard to be able to manage, that social distancing. And literally, since my child and since my son has been at home, there's been no runny nose, there's been no cough, there's been none of that whatsoever. He has been well. And God forbid I send him back to nursery prematurely and send him back to nursery now, the first time or the first day that the government has announced that this is going to go ahead and all schools should open. And God forbid something happens to him, I literally would not be able to forgive myself ever. So I've personally decided, alongside my husband, that we will be keeping our son at home for the next month, and we're going to play it by ear. We'll see what happens month by month, and we're not trying to live in fear whatsoever. It really is a faith over fear, but when you have faith, you also need to, use your sense at the same time. And for us, that is keeping him at home. So yeah, let me know what you guys will be doing. Are you sending your children back to school? Do you not have any choice? Let me know your thoughts. But again, like I said, this is not a judgment video to anyone that has to send their kids back to school. I know some people do want to send their kids back to school because they're kind of like, look, it's long. I literally cannot come and kill myself. Go back to school, go and be with your friends, get out my face. But I know there are some people who genuinely ideally wouldn't want to send their kids back to school, but they have to because of circumstances surrounding work and other things. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. We'll wait and see how this again plays out over the next coming week. Or weeks. I'm just praying that there's not another spike. But for me personally, I think a September start date would have been perfect to send kids back to school. But hey ho, I'm only one person. Take care, guys, and have a lovely day.